What happens when an icon meets her match in the most explosive confrontation The View has ever witnessed? You won't believe what unfolds when music legend Cher sits down for what seemed like a simple promotional appearance, only to find herself under attack from host Whoopi Goldberg in a battle that left the entire studio speechless. Before we get into this incredible story, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below because you're not going to believe what unfolds. Last night's episode started innocently enough. Cher appeared on The View to promote her upcoming tour, wearing her signature flowing outfit and that unmistakable smile. The audience erupted in applause as she took her seat, clearly excited to see the legendary performer. But what began as friendly banter quickly took a sinister turn when Whoopi decided to ambush her guest with a topic no one saw coming. So Cher, Whoopi began with that familiar tone that regular viewers know signals trouble. Let's talk about your recent comments about younger artists and how they're destroying real music. The studio fell silent. Cher's expression shifted immediately, her eyes narrowing as she leaned forward in her chair. "I never said that," Cher replied firmly, her voice steady but with an edge that cut through the tension. "That's completely taken out of context, Whoopi, and you know it." But Whoopi wasn't backing down. She pulled out a printed article, waving it in the air like evidence in a courtroom. "Really? Because right here it says, you called today's pop stars manufactured puppets who wouldn't know real talent if it hit them in the face." The other co-hosts exchanged uncomfortable glances as Cher's legendary composure began to crack. That interview was about the music industry's treatment of artists, not about the artists themselves. She shot back, her voice rising. "How dare you twist my words like this on national television?" Whoopi leaned back with a smirk that viewers know all too well, the one that appears right before she delivers her most devastating blows. The tension in the studio was suffocating as both women stared each other down, and you could sense that something much bigger was about to explode. That's when Whoopi went for the throat. "You know what, Cher? Maybe it's time someone called you out for living in the past. These young artists you're supposedly defending? They're everything you used to be. Relevant." The words hung in the air like poison, and you could literally see Cher's face transform from confusion to pure rage. "Excuse me?" Cher's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper that sent chills through the audience. "Did you just question my relevance? I've been in this business longer than you've been alive, sweetheart." The way she said sweetheart dripped with venom that made everyone in the studio shift uncomfortably. Whoopi doubled down, leaning forward aggressively. "And that's exactly the problem. You can't accept that your time has passed. These kids today are innovative. They're fresh. They're not stuck performing the same tired act from the 70s. The other co-hosts tried desperately to intervene, but both women were locked in combat now. Cher stood up from her chair, her hands trembling with barely contained fury. "How dare you sit there and lecture me about innovation when you've been doing the same angry host routine for decades? At least I'm not desperately clinging to relevance with auto-tuned comebacks," Whoopi fired back. And that's when everyone knew there was no coming back from this moment. The point of no return had been crossed, and what happened next would shock viewers worldwide. Cher's face went white with rage. For a split second, the studio fell into dead silence. Then she exploded. "Auto-tuned! Auto-tuned!" Her voice echoed through the studio as she grabbed her purse from beside her chair. "I've sold over 100 million records without needing a talk show to stay relevant. You bitter has-been." The audience gasped audibly. Whoopi shot up from her seat, pointing an accusatory finger. "Has-been? I'm still here every single day while you're what, touring nursing homes?" That was the final straw. Cher threw her hands up in disgust. "I'm done with this circus and your pathetic attempt at ratings." She ripped off her microphone and slammed it on the table with such force it made a sharp crack that reverberated through the stunned studio. "You want to know what's irrelevant, Whoopi? This show. This toxic environment you've created." Cher's voice carried across the silent studio as security personnel started moving closer. I came here as a favor, and you ambushed me with lies and personal attacks. Without another word, Cher turned on her heel and stormed toward the exit, her heels clicking dramatically against the floor. Cameras followed her every step as she pushed past stunned crew members. Just before disappearing through the studio doors, she turned back one final time. "Good luck explaining this to your advertisers," she called out, then vanished, leaving Whoopi standing alone at the desk, the other co-hosts speechless, and an audience in complete shock at what they had just witnessed.